So I went on to Yuma, and we got in the circus, and I had to wrestle. It was Mr. Vargas. It was Vargas Brothers Circus, so I had a big V on a mask, a gold mask, and I used my gold cape. And we, after the circus events were over, then we had the wrestling in the middle ring. And you had to look out for the elephant stuff, so you'd allowed to be taking a bump in it. But it was right there in the center ring. But you'd had a ringer in the crowd. And they'd give you $1,000 if the guy beat you. So anyway, the guy comes down, we have a match every night. But the interesting thing about it was that the circus performers, as talented as they were, they all came around and watched that match. They really enjoyed the wrestling part of the affair. And a little kid named Petey, a little midget, which a lot of people may have seen him in the movies, picks up a bucket of rocks with his fish hook in his tongue, and had a guy who swallowed swords, and boy, that's real. He swallowed 5 swords, right down the gimmick, man. Then they put my wife in a box, but they put the 15 blades in, and she called her the rubber lady. She had to squiggle all around in some kind of way. It's an illusion of some sort, but it's pretty cool. But that was a fun time for a couple months on the set there with those guys, and we picked up. I never even mentioned to you, but it was national news that one of the clowns gave us a little puppy. He was 2 months old. His mom and dad, or his mom or his parents were circus performers. They would jump through fire. They were terriers, but they'd jump through fire and jump up on the things and do all kind of tricks with balls and whatever. And they thought his legs were too short. So we named him Chaz, and we took him at 2 weeks, and he looked just like her fox fur coat. Anyway, it was a pretty little thing, and she wasn't supposed to be able to get pregnant because of her previous cancer she had. So he was like a child we couldn't have. He would tuck her in at night. He was just like, and come to find out, he could read. We had conversations with Chaz, not to get too much because people think you're crazy, but and in Texas though, he'd come to the matches and the pictures of the kids, but you could sit and have Chaz and just talk to him like you and I talking. He was speaking syllables like. I remember synthesizer, that word particular, because the guy said, well, I'll give you the radio if you read that box. He said AM, FM synthesizer, and it was just that plain. But he could talk, and then he started reading the magazines. And the doctor came in the office one day, he was sitting on his thing, and he said, hello, Dr. Crawford, read his name tag. And on the way over, this guy, we stopped at a U-Haul place to get something fixed, and Chaz read the guy's hat. He had L.A., and I had M.O., and he said Montana. He didn't say Mo, he said Montana, whatever the name of the company was. And he said, hey, Bill, this dog, he just read my hat. Hey, he just read my hat. He couldn't believe it. This dog, he was a special. Anyway, he ended up getting kidnapped. And it got to John and what was that show, big show, 103, that John Boy and Billy show. It's all over, it's nationally certified, whatever. And it was so nationally known everywhere I went. I don't care where I went. Did you get your dog back? But somebody finally brought it back. I guess because they got scared, but brought it back to us. But yeah, it was quite a treat. And finally, after 20 years or something, he finally passed away. But he'd work for Apples. He'd worked with the kids at the arenas and whatever. But he knew all the nursery rhymes, like Mary Had a Little Lamb, and Jack and Jill went up the hill, and he'd get a little tear in his eye when Jack fell down and broke his crown. But he had like human eyes. He could see what color you got on. You got on yellow, blue, whatever. It's like a crazy story, but I didn't even mention it in the years. But we were in the room. King Parsons was there. He said, "Hello, King Parsons." He fell out on the floor. He couldn't believe the dog was talking. We thought it was something going on here. But anyway, remember that we got it from the circus, and that was quite a trip. Then we went back to Dallas, get back into a mode here.